On March 3, 1575, the Mughal Empire, led by Emperor Akbar's general Munim Khan, engaged in a decisive battle against the forces of Bengal Sultanate's ruler, Dad Khan Karani, near the village of Tukaroi in present-day Odisha, India. The confrontation, known as the Battle of Tukaroi, resulted in a significant Mughal victory, leading to the annexation of Bengal and Bihar into the Mughal Empire. Following the battle, the Treaty of Cuttack was signed, allowing Dad Khan to retain control over Odisha while ceding Bengal and Bihar to the Mughals. This event marked a pivotal moment in the Mughal expansion in eastern India. The Olympic Theatre, Teatro Olimpico in Vicenza, Italy, was inaugurated on March 3, 1585, with a performance of Sophocles' Oedipus the King. Designed by the renowned Renaissance architect Andrea Palladio, the theater is celebrated as the first indoor theater in masonry and is considered one of the masterpieces of Renaissance architecture. Notably, the theater features intricate trompe-l'oeil stage scenery created by Vincenzo Scamozzi, which gives the illusion of long streets receding into the horizon. This historic venue continues to host performances and stands as a testament to Palladio's architectural genius. In early March 1776, during the American Revolutionary War, the Continental Marines conducted the first amphibious landing in U.S. military history, initiating the Battle of Nassau. The objective was to seize gunpowder and military supplies stored in Nassau, Bahamas, which were vital for the revolutionary cause. The Marines successfully captured the town and its fortifications with minimal resistance, marking a significant early victory for the Continental forces. On March 3, 1779, the Continental Army faced a severe defeat at the Battle of Briar Creek near Savannah, Georgia. British forces, under the command of Lieutenant Colonel Mark Prevost, executed a surprise attack against the American troops led by General John Ashe. The ambush resulted in substantial American casualties and disrupted Patriot efforts to regain control over Georgia, bolstering British influence in the southern colonies. The Siege of Corfu, part of the Mediterranean campaign during the War of the Second Coalition, concluded on March 3, 1799. A joint Russian and Ottoman fleet besieged the French-held island of Corfu, a strategic position in the Ionian Sea. After a rigorous blockade and assault, the French garrison surrendered, leading to the establishment of the Septinsular Republic under nominal Ottoman sovereignty and Russian protection. In 1857, escalating tensions over trade imbalances, diplomatic relations, and the legal status of foreign nationals in China led France and the United Kingdom to declare war on the Qing dynasty, marking the onset of the Second Opium War. The conflict aimed to expand Western trade privileges and secure the legalization of the opium trade. The war resulted in the Treaty of Tientsin and the Convention of Peking, which imposed unequal terms favoring the European powers. On March 3, 1859, the largest recorded auction of enslaved individuals in U.S. history concluded near Savannah, Georgia. Known as the Great Slave Auction, or the Weeping Time, approximately 436 men, women, and children were sold over 2 days to satisfy the debts of plantation owner Pierce Mies Butler. This event starkly highlighted the brutal realities of slavery in the United States. The U.S. Congress passed the Comstock Law on March 3, 1873, establishing federal restrictions against the distribution of obscene literature and articles of immoral use through the postal system. Spearheaded by moral crusader Anthony Comstock, the law targeted materials related to contraception, abortion, and sexual content, leading to significant debates over censorship, free speech, and reproductive rights. On March 3, 1875, the first documented indoor ice hockey game was played at the Victoria Skating Rink in Montreal, Quebec, Canada. Organized by James Creighton, the game featured two teams of 9 players each and used a wooden puck to prevent damage to the rink's glass windows. This event is considered a seminal moment in the development of modern ice hockey. Georges Bizet's opera Carmen premiered on March 3, 1875 at the Opéra Comique in Paris. Initially met with mixed reviews due to its unconventional characters and themes, Carmen has since become one of the most celebrated and frequently performed operas worldwide, renowned for its memorable melodies and dramatic intensity. The Russo-Turkish War culminated on March 3, 1878, with the signing of the Treaty of San Stefano. The treaty granted independence or autonomy to several Balkan states, including Bulgaria, Serbia, Montenegro, and Romania, significantly reducing Ottoman influence in the region. However, the treaty's terms were later revised at the Congress of Berlin due to concerns from other European powers. On March 30, 1891, President Benjamin Harrison proclaimed the creation of the Yellowstone Park Timberland Reserve, encompassing approximately 1.2 million acres adjacent to Yellowstone National Park. This reserve was the first of its kind, marking the inception of federally protected forest reserves in the United States. In 1902, the reserve was renamed Shoshone National Forest, honoring the Shoshone people indigenous to the region. Today, Shoshone National Forest spans over 2.4 million acres in Wyoming, offering diverse ecosystems ranging from sagebrush plains to alpine meadows and rugged mountain peaks. On March 3, 1913, over 5,000 women marched along Pennsylvania Avenue in Washington, D.C., demanding the right to vote. Organized by suffragists Alice Paul and Lucy Burns for the National American Woman Suffrage Association, NAWSA, the procession was strategically scheduled the day before President Woodrow Wilson's inauguration to maximize public attention. The event featured elaborate floats, bands, and delegations representing various states and professions. Despite facing harassment and inadequate police protection, the marchers persevered, bringing national focus to the women's suffrage movement and highlighting the systemic challenges women faced in their fight for voting rights. On March 3, 1918, Soviet Russia and the Central Powers, led by Germany, signed the Treaty of Brest-Litovsk, effectively ending Russia's involvement in World War I. The treaty imposed significant territorial concessions on Russia, ceding control of the Baltic states, Estonia, Latvia, and Lithuania, Belarus, Ukraine, and parts of the Caucasus region, including Ardahan, Kars, and Batumi, to the Central Powers. These harsh terms were a substantial blow to Russia, resulting in the loss of valuable territories and resources. The treaty was annulled later that year following Germany's defeat in the war, but it had a lasting impact on the geopolitical landscape of Eastern Europe. On March 3, 1923, Time magazine released its inaugural issue, marking the debut of the first weekly news magazine in the United States. Founded by Britton Haddon and Henry Luce, Time aimed to present concise summaries of news and current events, making information accessible to a broad audience. The magazine's distinctive style and influential journalism have made it a significant publication in American media history. On March 3, 1924, Mustafa Kemal Ataturk, the founder of modern Turkey, abolished the Ottoman Caliphate as part of his sweeping secular reforms. The last caliph, Abdülmecid II, was deposed, and the institution that had been a central religious authority in the Muslim world for centuries was dissolved. This move was a significant step in Ataturk's efforts to modernize Turkey and separate religious institutions from the state. On March 16, 1924, the Kingdom of Italy formally annexed the Free State of Fiume, a small independent entity established after World War I. The annexation followed the Treaty of Rome, in which Italy and the Kingdom of Serbs, Croats, and Slovenes agreed on the division of the disputed territories in the Adriatic region. Fiume, now known as Rijeka, is part of modern-day Croatia. On March 3, 1938, American geologists working for the Arabian American Oil Company, Aramco, struck oil in Dammam Dome No. 7, located in Dhahran, Saudi Arabia. This discovery marked the first commercially viable oil find in the country, transforming Saudi Arabia's economy and establishing it as a leading global oil producer. On March 3, 1939, Mahatma Gandhi began a hunger strike in Bombay, now Mumbai, to protest against the autocratic rule imposed by the British colonial government in India. This was part of Gandhi's broader nonviolent resistance movement, advocating for Indian self-governance and civil rights. On March 3, 1944, the Soviet Union established two prestigious naval decorations, the Order of Nakhimov and the Order of Yushakov. Named after esteemed admirals Pavel Nakhimov and Fyodor Yushakov, respectively, these orders were created to recognize outstanding naval leadership and bravery during World War II. The Order of Nakhimov was awarded to naval officers for exceptional achievements in planning and executing naval operations that resulted in significant enemy losses. The Order of Ushakov honored naval commanders who demonstrated exemplary strategic prowess and successful combat actions against superior enemy forces. Both orders were retained in the Russian Federation's honor system after the dissolution of the USSR. On March 3, 1945, during World War II, the Royal Air Force, RAF, conducted an air raid intended to target German V-2 rocket launch installations in the Haagse Bos area of The Hague, Netherlands. Due to navigational errors and poor visibility caused by fog, the bombs were mistakenly dropped on the nearby residential neighborhood of Bezuidenhout. This tragic error resulted in the deaths of 511 civilians, left approximately 30,000 people homeless, and caused extensive destruction to homes and infrastructure. The incident is a somber reminder of the unintended consequences of wartime operations. On March 3, 1958, Nuri al-Said assumed the office of Prime Minister of Iraq for the 8th time. A prominent political figure and statesman, al-Said played a significant role in shaping Iraq's policies during the mid-20th century. His tenure was marked by efforts to modernize the country and navigate complex regional dynamics. However, his pro-Western stance and authoritative governance style generated opposition, leading to political unrest. Al-Said's final term was cut short by the 1958 Iraqi coup d'état, during which he was overthrown and killed, marking a pivotal shift in Iraq's political landscape. On March 3, 1969, NASA launched the Apollo 9 mission from Kennedy Space Center. This mission was the first crewed flight of the complete Apollo spacecraft, including the Lunar Module, LM. Astronauts James McDivitt, David Scott, and Russell Schweickart conducted critical tests in Earth's orbit, simulating maneuvers that would be performed during a lunar landing. The successful docking and undocking of the Command Module and Lunar Module validated essential procedures and hardware, paving the way for subsequent missions that would land humans on the Moon. On March 3, 1986, the Australia Act 1986 came into effect, marking a significant moment in Australia's legal history. This legislation, passed by both the Australian and British parliaments, severed the remaining constitutional ties between Australia and the United Kingdom. It eliminated the ability of the British Parliament to legislate for Australia and abolished appeals from Australian courts to the Judicial Committee of the Privy Council in London. The Act affirmed Australia's full legal independence, solidifying its status as a sovereign nation. On March 3, 1991, an amateur video recorded the violent arrest of Rodney King by Los Angeles Police Department officers. The footage showed King being brutally beaten by multiple officers after a high-speed chase. The incident sparked widespread outrage and highlighted issues of police brutality and racial discrimination within law enforcement. The subsequent acquittal of the officers involved led to the 1992 Los Angeles riots, underscoring deep-seated tensions and prompting national discussions on policing and justice. On March 3, 2005, James Roscoe ambushed and killed 4 Royal Canadian Mounted Police (RCMP) constables during a raid on his property in Rockfort Bridge, Alberta. The officers were conducting an investigation into a marijuana grow operation and a suspected chop shop when they were attacked. After the murders, Roscoe took his own life. This tragic event marked the deadliest single-day loss of life for the RCMP in over a century and led to discussions about police safety and protocols during rural investigations. On March 3, 2005, adventurer Steve Fossett completed the first solo nonstop flight around the world without refueling. Piloting the Global Flyer aircraft, Fossett took off from Salina, Kansas, on February 28th and returned ICTY 7 hours later, having covered approximately 22,936 miles, 36,898 kilometers. This remarkable achievement demonstrated advancements in aviation technology and showcased human endurance and determination in the pursuit of exploration. On March 3, 2005, Margaret Wilson was elected as the Speaker of the New Zealand House of Representatives. Her election was historically significant, as it led to a period where all of New Zealand's highest political offices were occupied by women. During this time, Queen Elizabeth II was the head of state, Helen Clark served as Prime Minister, Sylvia Cartwright was the Governor-General, and Sean Elias held the position of Chief Justice. This milestone underscored New Zealand's progressive stance on gender representation in governance.